The show where I share my thoughts on a subject or more and give you an opportunity for you to do same. This morning I'm going to be focused on roads but in a different way, and then I would also be focused on one story that we've already started a conversation on this morning as well. You can be a part of these convotes. The WhatsApp number remains same 0500,000 Alternatively, you can reach us on our socials, Class 913 on Facebook and Class 91.3 on X. And then when the phone lines are activated, you can call and share your thoughts. I'll do a bit of politics, I'll do a bit of our everyday issues as well. Let me start with the roads. I have noticed in the last few days, that I don't know whether it's being done by the Ghana Highway Authority or the municipal assemblies within, a certain catchment area. I've seen stuff like that in the Ayawaso West, Wugon constituency or municipality. I've seen that in Dome Kwabenya. I've seen that in Okaikwe North. I've seen that in Okaikwe South and a few others as well. Driving since last week and throughout the weekend as well. I see that quite a number of roads that had potholes or made it a bit unmotorable or made it a bit challenging for motorists who use that road are being fixed. I see that even before they started fixing them, they put some white chalk or white material, whatever it is, by some of them, so that everybody who is driving past these roads for the very first time knows that this area or this particular sport is a challenge, so maybe go past it or something like that. But what I can't seem to fathom, I mentioned it on Monday briefly, but what I can't seem to fathom is the timing of the retooling of these routes or the reconstruction of these routes. Elsewhere and in major areas all over the world, these things are done, but the timing is very important. No one is saying that this should not be done. Elsewhere, they do these things 12 a.m. as in midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. when there's very little or there's no traffic on the road. Even if there are cars on the road at that time, it is not likely to cause any kind of problems because there are very few vehicles. So maybe you stay in that kind of traffic or that kind of situation for probably just about a minute or two, and there are fair diversions where you can even use from a distance, and it's not really going to be problematic because they have so many alternative routes. Here, we barely have these alternative routes, and I see these things being done during the day when there's a lot of traffic. Yesterday, for example, around Shiashi, where the FDA offices, they were fixing the road around 11, 12 o'clock morning, afternoon, and I was like, what on earth is going on here? And it was causing such a gridlock at that time. Look at the number of cars that are using that road at that time of the day. All the cars that are coming all the way from Kufudi and all of that through Adenta, Madina, Frafraha and all of those communities, they will come through Shiashi. Most of the cars coming from East Legon, Ajingana and all of those communities, they will come through Shiashi. And those who are driving from the other side of the road too are using that stretch. And you are fixing the road at that time. And people who are coming from University of Ghana Medical Center and all of that, the ambulances that may need to navigate their way just in case they have to transport a passenger. And they were fixing the road around 11, I used that stretch around 11:30, 11:45. And it had caused such a massive gridlock. And I'm like, this is not a long expanse of road that you are fixing. For those of you who are familiar, between the FDA and the Golf House, and probably stretching all the way to the midwifery building, it is not up to 200 meters. So this is something you can fix at midnight. This is something you can fix at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. The other day, I complained about the same thing being done at Achimota and how it was causing a massive gridlock there on Saturday and on Monday. And I see this being done. I am not sure anyone is unhappy about the construction or reconstruction of the road to make it a lot more motorable. But the timing is absolutely important. Where they were fixing is very close to a major hospital. Can you imagine ambulances trying to navigate their way, for example, and that person, just like Dr. Vanessa Apia said, maybe has a minute or two to survive. And because of that gridlock, an ambulance would have to try and force. By the time the ambulance will get to UGMC, the person will be gone. Please, whoever is supervising this and has made funding available, we are happy that finally, after years, some of these things we have been complaining for years. The one around the old Mile 7 Peace FM junction, we have been complaining about it for years. That area is no more than 30 meters. It has never been fixed. I don't know why. I am sure maybe that will be the next one. But you cannot be fixing it anytime after 6 o'clock in the morning when there's heavy traffic or rush hour when people are going home. It can be done from 11 p.m. going, maybe 12 midnight. But I'm sure, just like one of our listeners sent us a message on Monday, was it Gravity or so, who said if they don't do it at daytime, how would people know that they are working? You don't need to be there for people to see that you are working. You don't need to. You can get it done. Just like all the complaints I've made about all the other things. Because the roads come with so many others. They come with the traffic lights. They come with the street lights. Street lights that were fixed not too long ago on stretches that I use coming to work. About half of them, all of a sudden, are not working. I was applauding the MCE for Kaikwe North for the stretch between the Achimota police station all the way to the DSTV side. Now about half of them are not working. The traffic lights today it will work, tomorrow it's not working. And the traffic lights, the street lights itself, the quality of the bulbs, you really have to question that. It is not bright at all. So even when they are on, the roads are still fairly dark. I don't know what grade we are importing. I don't know what grade we are using. But it can surely be better. So whoever is directly responsible for all of these things, can you please take a second look at that? Then the other issue that I want to talk about, I know you love your politics. I've seen a survey by African Policy Lens, led by Dr. Domfe and the likes of Dr. Zato and Co. Saying that if elections were to be held today, Dr. Bawumia will win. I don't have a problem with that. All kinds of surveys can be done all the way to the election. But this is my thing. 2.5 years to the election. With all the challenges that we faced under the previous administration, I'm not too sure this is a conversation you would even want to have at this time. I'm not too sure. Maybe a year to the election, maybe 6 months to the election. It's up to them. They can choose to do whatever they want. But for a government that has just left power, don't you think that you are rather even irritating people? Because that was a very powerful number 2. Never mind he telling us that he was a driver's mate and all the challenges that we faced. I said on Monday that one of Dr. Bawumia's rise to glory and into the minds of many people here in Ghana were the economic series and lectures that he was organizing, and we being made to understand that he was an economic wizard and probably led the MPP to glory in 2016. But there is absolutely no way, and this is my personal opinion, anyone can shift responsibility away from him that he was only a driver's mate. Because if I do not even recall anything at all, I recall his comments in Cape Coast, where he was literally mocking the NDC economic management team under President Mahama I. And he was literally going on and on and on and on about the current economic management team under his watch and under his supervision. And he was mentioning their names. The receipt is still there. The video is still on YouTube. He was mentioning their names and making mockery. And for 8 years, we know the challenges that we faced when he was the one leading the economy. So if we have over 2 years before the election and you do a poll that is telling us that Dr. Bawumia would win an election in 2028 ahead of whoever the NDC is going to pick, do you really want to set the man up for anger? After he won the MPP primaries, if you have noticed, he's playing his cards very well. He barely speaks. He's doing things on the quiet. He barely speaks. Because he's coming from a very difficult situation, and I'm sure he understands communication and knows that maybe this is not the time to be making a lot of noise. Unless, of course, these guys at the African Policy Lens probably wanted to test the pulse of people and throw this out and put it on the front page of many private newspapers this morning for us to have a conversation about. But 2.5 years to an election, with all the challenges that we face in the 8 years under his watch leading the economy, I'm not sure this is a conversation that Ghanaians are willing and wanting to have at this time.